Hey guys, what's going on here? Welcome back to another What If Civilization Start Over video. I know that video was kind of short, and I'm sorry for that, but I hope that this one is longer. We start over here in the Balkans with the continued exploration of the area. And down in the Greece itself, they discover all the Greek islands. And the Farmers Union hops the strait over here, which I forget the name of. Now they can have a monopoly on trade, coming in and out, and into Ukraine. And new country alert, new country alert, new country alert. We have a, let me find the right color here. I'm gonna go start using colors. We have a new country popping up. If I can find the right color. Hold on just a second. We have a Greek country popping up. From people that came from the Farmers Union. Because they felt that the Farmers Union was getting a bit too big for their liking. So they decided to form their own country. And this country is kind of big. Basically taking over modern day Greece. Going up into Macedonia. And they help explore more of this region. I almost forgot capital. It's going to be right there. The capital is actually going to be right in here. You know, they start down here and the capital is going to be up here. This country is getting a lot of attraction, especially from settlers going over here and explorers coming out of the Farmers Union. And the Farmers Union is like, wait a minute, you're not supposed to do that. And we're like, we don't care, you're heavily populated. Well, heavy population for this size. Population has to match the size, in my opinion. And they discovered parts of Italy, the east coast of Italy. They discovered the heel of Italy. And of course, Europe gets discovered before Africa. Because of course it does. And this red country, it has been kind of dormant since the war in the orange team and down here in the purple team. Speaking of alliances, not that, alliances, this country has no alliance. So, what do? They join up with the diamond. Okay, good, that's on the right there. And people are getting concerned because the world, especially over here in the more populated areas, are getting more and more divided as we go on. The only ones that haven't been divided is over here, the new countries. Newer countries. And someone is just waiting for someone to pull a trigger. Then we have a big old mess. This might lead to a possibly major conflict later on. So, speaking of the red team, they make some small expansion west and a tiny little exploration party up here. They just do a little expandy here and there. And actually, speaking of which, going back to our alliances, there is a split going on here. I don't know if I can do it right. The orange team leaves the square alliance and goes to the diamond alliance. If I can get the right card going here. Yeah, the square team is like, what the heck just happened? And the lime team, even though yes they lost a lot in their last war, they decide to join the square alliance just to gain protection, especially with Sri Lanka down here, and they don't want to get caught in a gruesome war, so they want to help defend at least this side of them. And if they end up getting invaded on from both sides of the conflict, they just want to be able to hold off at least one side. And this is much easier to hold off than this. Yeah, this is easier than this. So that was a quick little update on the alliances of Zivid. And the only ones that are in this side of the hemisphere are Korea and Vietnam. Speaking of Vietnam, they continue expanding westward. This team, even though yes, I always said that they're anti-expansion, they expand a little bit, just to get more attention than China could say they will claim before the rest goes to Vietnam. Or at least, now it's going to be Southeast Asia, but I'm still going to call it Vietnam because their capital is in modern day Vietnam. And speaking of which, they helped explore more Borneo, and their claim in Borneo expands. Same with China's. China just does that to make sure they have control over the Philippines. And this weird starfish chicken one has just started being discovered. And Singapore has kind of been a little dormant still as well, has started expanding and takes all this, even takes some islands, just get people right here, towns going, and take off this island and start to discover more of Java. They also take islands out here. Singapore is huge now. It's bigger now. And the Farmers Union starts to expand more into here, into Europe, becoming a transcontinental. country. Only reason being is, one, to get more resources to continue farming, to continue their careers. And since the Industrial Revolution is about to kick off in a couple episodes, I'm going to say, if this series were to die before, or at least if this series were to continue that far. So they're just trying to prepare for like any future advancements in technology and careers. And Ukraine right here is basically South Ukraine, Crimea has been kind of dormant as of late in terms of expansion. And as soon as I say that, I'm gonna have them expand. Just also because their population is kind of kicking, their population is kind of booming, so they kind of need the land in order to accommodate such growth. You go down here and meet the border of the Farmers Union, which you're good pals with. And they continue to expand down and around the Black Sea. And these two are mainly trading with each other and going to trade routes. Yay! We have the completion of the trade route going over here to the Farmers Union, and the completion of the trade route up here to Korea. Now the world is basically connected up in terms of trade routes, except they're down here to these guys. And these guys are mainly looking to expand to the trade route, which they do so successfully. That is so they can have towns in and around the trade route to make money and sell goods from this area. And they, whoa, like I was trying to say, they expand to the trade route to try and make money and whatnot, and they connect up around the Gulf. And the Farmers Union was hoping to one day expand their and be able to connect up to the rest of the road as well, easier. And the Red Team, who has some settlements and towns around the trade route, decided to expand north and continue along the trade route as well. So they have some jurisdiction going into their lines. If I turn off the trade routes, the border actually looks somewhat decent. And these guys have agreed to, and everybody's basically agreed to not fight directly on the trade route, but they might fight about the trade route. And guess what the Farmers Union does? They decide to expand along the trade route, to get people and settlements out and around the trade route. And they also protect their capital better. And these guys were expansionist. And countries at this time are still monarchies. Well, everybody except these guys. These guys are kind of, I guess, a mix of communism and capitalism and democracy. Communism and democracy rule this country. I'm just making this up, but this is fun in my opinion. Is seeing what people, me and other people can come up with for alternate history and future of road like this, where we look at what if civilizations start over to see what would have been different, what the road could have looked like compared to our modern day. You know, there's like no division of Germany, there's no Soviet Union, there is no Cold War between communism and capitalism. Why the heck is there borders? I don't know how. I lost my train of thought. But yeah, it's just fun to see what people could have come, what the road could have looked like if things were different. But yeah, as I was trying to say, it's fun to come up with situations like this to see what would have been different. China starts to expand. Yeah, I'm having multiple ideas. I have ideas just flowing through my mind right now, to a point where it's Also, updates on the alliances. Korea has decided to make a new alliance called the Star Alliance. And Vietnam joins up the stars. Same with the Farmers Union and Crimea. These guys, or the Star Alliance, is said to be ran by the Farmers Union, and this is open to anyone who's afraid of war. But for some weird reason, the Farmers Union has banned the Gulf country in the Gulf area that surrounds the Gulf area, has forbidden it. And expansion and going down here, the Farmers Union decides to expand right up to the border with the Gulf country. That's what I'm just gonna call it, the Gulf. And this country is afraid for its safety, so it decides to join an alliance called they join the Rectangle Alliance, the Square Alliance. Oops. Yeah, like I was saying, they joined the Square Alliance. No, that looks like a rectangle. But yeah, they joined the Square Alliance to try and defend their sovereignty over in the West, so they don't get invaded. And the Farmers Union decides to continue expanding over here. and their farmers union is like population is booming. They're like right now they're like the most populated. The farmers union is like number one. We have like I'm gonna say 5 million. Then like then 2.5 in China. Then like half a million in Bangladesh. That's like the number one and number two. Actually, no. It goes scratch that. Number one, Farmers Union had 5 million, 3 million in China, and 2.5 million in Red Team, and about 500,000 in Gulf country. About 500 to almost a million. Actually, yeah, 1.5 million in the Gulf country. And these guys are basically on the brink of war. So, that will do it for this episode of What If Civilization Start Over. I'll see all you in the next one. Bye bye.